Hello and thanks for joining me. I'm Mia and I'm here to give you some basic pointers on how to get the most out of your consumer camcorder. Now, some people like to program all of their camcorder settings to auto, but if you want to take your shooting to the next level, stick with me and we'll go over some of your camcorder's modes and settings and how to use them. Plus, I'll throw in a few little tips to help you capture great video. We'll be using a few different camcorders to illustrate what I'm talking about here. The Canon Vixia HFM50, the Sony PJ580 with the built-in projector, a Panasonic HC X900K, and the JVC Averio GZ-EX210. Let's start with white balance. Finding the right white balance setting is critical to getting true colors, so your footage looks more like what you see with the naked eye. Here's a crash course on how white balance works. I could talk to you about temperature and degrees Kelvin, but all you really need to know is that daylight has blue undertones, and without the proper white balance, your video will have a blue tint. Tungsten or indoor lights have warmer undertones, so your video may have a red or orange look. Everything else falls someplace in the middle. For the most part, auto white balance should work fine, but if you get into some trickier lighting situations, you may need to tell the camera which setting to use. This is video shot on 3 different white balance settings, with light filtering in through a pair of blinds. See how the indoor setting added too much blue and the daylight setting added too much orange? The third video is shot with the white balance set manually. Some camcorders have lots of different modes to choose from, like this Canon M50. It has daylight, shade, cloudy, fluorescent, and tungsten modes, as well as auto and manual. Most likely one of those will fit your location. But if you have a camcorder like the Sony PJ580 that only has daylight or indoor modes, you'll want to set the white balance manually. To do that, choose the manual icon under the white balance setting. It's usually the last icon option. Find something white or carry a white card with you. Zoom in to fill your screen with white, then press the button your manual designates to set the white balance. The color on your screen will change to reflect a truer white. I personally like to manually set my white balance before every shoot, so I know it's customized for the situation. Now remember, in manual mode, you must re-white balance every time the lighting changes. So if you move indoors or the sun goes behind a cloud, remember to re-white balance in the new light. If you set the correct white balance every time you shoot, you should never have a problem with blue or orange video. One of the biggest challenges you'll face when shooting is lighting. Some of the moments you want to capture in life are not perfectly lit, but with a few setting adjustments, there's a good chance you can capture great video even when the light's not cooperating. If you're shooting in low light and your subject looks dark, you might say, well, why can't I just turn on the light on the front of the camera if you have one, like this Sony does? Well, you can, and in some situations that might work. But most of the time it's going to give you a splash of bright light in one area, resulting in a glaring deer in headlights look. So if you want to capture natural video where the colors are true, you'll need to know how to tweak a few settings. The first thing we'll look at is how to control the lens opening that lets light into the camcorder. On a camera, this is called aperture. On video camcorders, it's typically called iris or exposure. For low light shooting, you may want to check your scene modes to see if there's one dedicated to low light. On the Sony and the JVC I'm using today, it's called low lux. If not, go into your manual settings and choose exposure. Start increasing your exposure until you can clearly see your subject, but pay attention to the white items in your image. These can get overexposed, which will make the video look blown out. Some cameras, like the Panasonic X900K, offer a zebra function, which will highlight the overexposed areas on your screen with slanted zebra lines. If you turn that feature on and those lines pop up, then you'll know you've overexposed parts of the image. Now, depending on how dark your lighting is, you may have to live with some overexposed areas of your image if you want to see your subject clearly. You may also notice that as you increase the exposure, parts of the image may get grainy. This is called noise. It decreases the quality of the video, so you want to find that happy medium where the subject is the brightest, whites are not blown out, and the image has the least amount of noise. On cameras with automatic gain control, like the Canon Vixia, you can set the gain limit to curb the amount of noise you will allow into the video. So when you reach your set limit, the image won't get any brighter. Another way to get more light into your footage is to slow down the shutter speed. You might be familiar with this adjustment from still photography. The slower the shutter speed, the more light is taken into the sensor between frames, and sometimes this can boost your brightness slightly. So check to see if your camcorder gives you the option to adjust your shutter speed like this Panasonic does. Just know that slowing down the shutter increases blur if you're shooting moving subjects. So lock the camera down and don't shoot action video with a slow shutter speed. Last but not least, be resourceful. When you've exhausted your camcorder settings and you still need more light, look at your surroundings. Maybe you can use a reflective surface to bounce light into an area and brighten it up a bit. Maybe you'll find a lamp that'll give off just the right amount of light you need. Be aware of how you can manipulate the light sources around you to help illuminate your subject. Don't you hate it when the lighting is perfect, your white balance is spot on, and you capture a great moment on video? Let's say your son runs in a touchdown, and when you get home to play it back, the video is so shaky that it gives you a headache to even watch it. Getting smooth, shake-free video on small handheld cameras is a toughie, but there are a few tricks that'll help. First, check to see if your camcorder has an optical image stabilization option. All of these do. On the Canon, it's abbreviated IS. On the Panasonic and JVC, it's OIS, and on the Sony, it's called Steady Shot. If you plan to be moving the camera at all while you're shooting, turn this on. It will stabilize the image projected on your camcorder sensor before it's turned into digital information. You'll find the stabilization option in most camcorder menus. However, on both the Panasonic X900K and the JVC Averio, it's a convenient dedicated button right on the camera body itself. There are also a few shooting techniques you can use to help reduce shake. The easiest way is to use a tripod or a monopod. Every camcorder has a threaded hole on the bottom where it can attach to a tripod plate. Basic video tripods and monopods are quite affordable, and they're really the only way to ensure that you'll eliminate most of the shake from your videos. Don't have a tripod? Or maybe you're in a situation that won't allow one. Make one. Again, get resourceful. Is there a ledge, a low wall, a table, or a flat surface near you where you can set the camcorder down and still shoot the video you want? If you can't get to a flat surface, see if there's something solid that you can lean against to stabilize your body. A wall or a car will work well, and this will reduce any natural body sway. Lastly, if there isn't a wall or flat surface in sight, you can make a tripod with your body. Now, there are a couple of ways to do this, and you should try out each one to find out which feels most comfortable and most stable for you. First, put the camcorder in the middle of both hands out in front of you. Then tuck your elbows into your sides here just above your hip bones. Or, if you want, you can bring your wrists all the way back and rest them against the front of your body. Either way, you want to turn your entire body with the camcorder when you turn, and what this will do is it'll provide some stabilization for your hands and reduce camera shake. Now you know some basics about how to correctly white balance your camcorder, work in low light, and take steady, shake-free video. I'm Mia McCormick. Thanks for taking the time to learn a few new tips with me.
For more information, please visit us online, give us a call, or stop by our New York City Superstore. You can also connect with us on the web.